What's strategy? What is strategy? That is a very popular question on the Google search engine. So there are lots of videos that try and answer that question, what is strategy, from some very famous people. So you might not find this video for some time, but because of a project that I'm working on, I need to ask that question and I need to answer it because it's part of a project that I'm putting together. I've been working in this area for several decades, but it was some time before I felt comfortable that I had a stable base for evaluating a business strategy. And I got the answer in a way from another field. It was sort of by accident. I was doing an MBA and we were looking at strategy, and there was a tremendous amount of information. And I thought, well, what do I do with this? How do I sort this information? And what is the question I should be asking so that I know I'm asking the right question to find the strategy? So it was the area, it was the field of, I'm not quite sure which field it's in actually, but it was a model called logical types, which was developed by Alfred North Whitehead and Bertrand Russell. And they said that they developed this model that distinguishes between a class and the elements of the class. Now that might not make much sense here as I've said it quickly, but for me it a penny dropped, and I was able to take a lot of information and start to distill it down. And I began to listen to the words and the type of words that were involved in a strategy communication. Hopefully I'll explain that in a moment. At the end of this video I'm going to give a tip for what to look out for with a strategy. So I found logical types, and I was then able to make certain distinctions. For example, if we were talking about purpose, I knew we were talking about a why question, which is not strategy. If we were talking about identity, I knew we were talking about the who question, which is not strategy. If we were talking about what, or where and when, I knew we were talking about objectives, which is not strategy. And what I concluded is that the word I was looking for was how. So normally in strategy we're looking at how can I move from A to B? How can I move from A to B? That's the question that you and I are considering when we say we want to put together a business strategy. Now, of course, in order to answer that question, there's a tremendous amount of analysis that goes into the background. You and I are going to want to know what's happening in society at large. We're going to want to know what's happening in the industry, which is the next logical type down. We're going to want to know what's happening in the market, which is the next logical type down. And we're going to want to know what's happening in the organization, which is the next logical type down. And we're going to want to know what's happening with finances, which is the next logical type down. So the logical types gave me a way of sorting lots of different information. A model called logical levels gave me the insight into the questions like why, who, what, where, when, and how. So if you're wanting to develop a strategy, the question you want to answer is how